Hello everyone and welcome back. So what I'll be talking about today is we all have faced it, and I sometimes do face it as well, and I think most of us have experienced it. So what am I talking today about is procrastination. I know a lot of you would like to know what procrastination is, how we can overcome it, what is the science behind it, and what is going on in our mind when we are procrastinating on the regular basis. So I'll be covering it all in today's video. And as you all know that I come here on the weekly basis to uplift you all, and the tips and the tricks which I've shared with my own clients and see successes with them, I share it with you all so that you also can benefit from them. And last but not the least is do subscribe to my channel and just comment on something which you really liked and you want me to make videos on. All right, so with that, let's get started. So what are we talking today? We are talking about the science behind procrastination and what are the 5 tips which always work for everyone. So we have seen that procrastination is one of the biggest challenges a lot of people face these days, and it's become very habitual for some people, like to procrastinate whatever they're trying to do in their lives, and they also end up being in a place where they are disinterested, and eventually it starts to affect their mental health. And as all we know, procrastination can lead to episodes of depression, which a lot of medical personnel and I think psychologists have agreed upon. So that's what we'll be talking today. So what is a procrastination? Procrastination is an act of delaying or putting off the task that needs to be completed, and also knowing that it might have negative consequences. I don't know how many of you know that people who procrastinate, they clearly know that there's going to be repercussions or negative consequences to their act, but still they do it. So one of my clients, he had started doing it, I would say consciously. So first it was all very subconsciously he was procrastinating in his projects, but then he had formed a habit to procrastinate. So that had become a big problem for him, and eventually he started taking coaching lessons from me, and then he was able to overcome it as well. So this is what I'm saying. You do it very subconsciously or unconsciously in the beginning, and your mind gets signal, oh, she or he's enjoying it, and then you start doing it on the regular basis. So what is the science behind procrastination? So many people think that the procrastination is due to being lazy or just plain incompetence, but it couldn't be further from those two truths, because procrastination actually finds its roots in our biology. So that's what I'm trying to explain it here. The result of constant battle between 2 parts of the brain. So one is limbic system and the other one is prefrontal cortex. So these are the 2 different systems which are in constant battle when somebody's procrastinating, is a beginner or it has advanced to getting into the depressive modes and things like that. So what is the limbic system? Limbic system is one of the oldest and most dominant portions of our brain. It processes mostly automatic. All the processes happening here are automatic. When you feel your whole body is telling you to flee away from any situation which is unpleasant in nature, and the limbic system is talking to you, okay, don't do this, so move away from it. So your limbic system is the dominating one. It will say, please don't go ahead and don't do it. Okay. The other one is prefrontal cortex. It's less developed and has a result of somewhat weaker part of the brain, right? This part of your brain is planning complex behaviors about your personality, expressing your personality, and so on and so forth, and taking eventually some decisions. So when your brain starts to think critically, so what happens? So it is able to take the right decisions for you, right? But if it is not thinking critically, what happens? So the limbic system, which is more developed, gets more on the side of taking decisions for you, which is like, okay, run away from this situation, it's not for me. And a lot of people, when you find they're procrastinators, that they have been running away or fleeing away from their unpleasant situations in their life. Okay, so these are just this little biological side of what procrastination is and how it is affecting your brain. So let's talk about the emotions connected to procrastination. Now, this is a very big one. As a mental health coach, and I can tell you this one, that procrastination is an emotional process. So once you start seeing yourself doing it, just you need to catch up in the very early stages, because that can lead to a lot of consequences in the later part. So researchers, what they have found is that procrastination is often associated with negative emotions such as anxiety, hopelessness, and that even led to depression. So like I said, if you are able to catch your procrastination habit on the early stages, so you will not go all the way to the situation where you are feeling more hopelessness is there, helplessness is there, anxiety is there, and then eventually in some kind of depression you can get. So what we are trying to do, so there are primarily what researchers have found, there are 3 types of procrastinators, like how they work. So if you can identify yourself with one of them. So the first one is the avoider. You put things off just because they make you feel bad, and whether it's specific emotion, is it anxiety, boredom is number 1, by the way, and overwhelmness, or something like you're feeling sad about something, right? So you just try to just basis off that, okay, I'm feeling bored about this situation, I don't want to do it. So, and the pleasure picking part of is that you like to do things which are more pleasurable. So we'll talk all about that. So you can identify with one of these symptoms if you have that you are probably an avoider. If you schedule undesirable tasks, you put items related to the job you can't visually see, you make excuses all the time, you make lots of to-do lists, but you convince yourself that those are not your priorities, things like that. And how you can fix up your behavior if you want to break the job, you tread into smaller steps, which we'll talk a little later. Self-reflection is very important if you have become one of the procrastinators. So what are the next one? The next one is, we all know it's an optimist. That's what the psychologists have said. So consistently think a task and isn't going to take as long as it does, or that you have more time to finish the job. So you're consistently thinking about what you want to do. It could be a project, it could be any of those tasks you wanted to be doing, but you're thinking about it, but are you doing it? No, I don't think so, right? So you're probably an optimist if the others people tell you that you are overconfident, so oh, I can do it later, I'm not in a rush, or I'm not in a hurry, something like that. You fail to see the pattern of times where you are procrastinating produce a negative result. So you also overlook when it is producing negative results. So you're an optimist. You almost never create plan B. So you think, oh, I can just take it all the way. And you might fix your problem that you become like, start asking other people for their input. So that's one of the ways. And the third one, which are pleasure seeker, the third one's, you don't do what you're supposed to do until you genuinely like doing it. So, the people who seek pleasure in everything, what they're doing, this is what happens to them. So you become a procrastinator in the form of regularly shoot down the ideas or ask about alternatives. You accept a live in moment mindset, and then you don't spend much time reflecting or planning. So if you're a procrastinator, you really need to do self-reflection a lot of times. You might fix this problem, and like I said, you have to do self-reflection, what is going wrong and why you're not able to do it. And you will only do it if you're in pleasure seeker, that if you're finding some kind of pleasure in that activity. So here are these 3 primary ones which you can identify yourself with if you're a procrastinator, and how you can overcome this procrastination, the 5 tips which are really helpful. And let's go one by one. The first one is break your task into smaller manageable chunks. Please do that, because I still do it. If I find some task which is overwhelming, I try to get it into a smaller steps so that I don't feel overwhelmed, and I can also schedule it, doing it some chunk of it each day. That can help you too, right? Set a timer. Second one is set a timer for 5 minutes. Commit to working for those 5 minutes, and you will find that once you start, you keep going. So set a timer. So if you can measure it, you can control it. So always start with a timer. That's a good practice, I would say. If you are not used to it, please start doing it from today. The third one is when you know that you have to use a positive enforcement. So what does that mean? The positive enforcement is when you know that you need a reminder. A lot of us do in the beginning, and that's fine. It's not a big deal. Don't feel that you are the only one. And the fourth one is eliminate distractions. Yes, you have to turn off the notifications of your phone. computer, anything you're working, please try to do it in the silent environment. That would really help you. The last one is visualize your success. I know it's not that easy, so but try to see if you can visualize in the simple way. Okay, I'm finishing this task, I'm already done with this task, and how would I feel? Things like that. You don't have to literally close your eyes, do some kind of visualization. So if you do any of these 5 tips, I'm sure you will be able to overcome your procrastination and move forward with it. So I hope these tips were helpful, and the science behind procrastination was helpful to you all, and I shall see you next week. Till then, you all have a wonderful day.